Hi, I'm James Minick, the North Carolina DWI Guy. Today we're talking with Lee Barrett from Asheville Insurance. He's going to tell us a little bit about the impact of a DWI on your auto insurance policy. So Lee, tell us first of all, just kind of how does a DWI impact insurance?
Well, the first thing that's going to happen after your conviction, it's going to show up on the MVR reports, which is public information that all of the insurance
And what's
has.
that MVR? What is
That's
that?
the motor vehicle report
Okay.
that in our state comes out of Raleigh.
Okay.
And the insurance companies are going to pick it up very quickly. And they're going to assess 12 insurance points against your driver's license / insurance policy, which could mean 350% increase in your auto insurance.
Okay. If you live out of state, is that going to impact your insurance any different than if you live in North Carolina?
I believe it will. All insurance companies share their data through what they call the CLUE report. And all of the motor vehicle departments are online. So we are seeing a lot of reciprocation between other states. So if you live in Tennessee, but you're convicted in North Carolina, it's going to travel to Tennessee, be picked up on your insurance in Tennessee.
Okay. And do you see a lot of companies that as a result of a DWI will drop a policyholder?
Almost all of your, what I call preferred type companies, these are the companies that you see advertising on television, or your mutual companies that are owned by the policyholder. They are looking at the preferred market. If you fall into that particular bucket, you can almost guarantee that once they find out that the DUI exists, they are going to strip away the physical damage coverage, your comp and your liability insurance, because you're now considered high risk. They're going to lower your limits down to the state minimum, put you in the reinsurance facility, and still hit you with that 350% rate increase.
Okay. And if that policy is dropped as to the auto insurance, or if it becomes kind of a situation where there would be kind of no reason to keep the policy because the coverage has become so bad, is that going to affect other types of insurance that you might have with that company, or the rates that you're paying for, let's say life insurance or homeowners insurance and that type of thing?
Absolutely, and primarily on the home. North Carolina is underpriced in the home market. We're about the 4th cheapest state in the nation. And because of that, many of the preferred and mutual companies are requiring the auto policy, which is profitable, to offset the home insurance. So when they lose the auto piece, then they will elect to either non-renew your home, or they'll raise your deductible extremely high. You'll lose the multi-policy discounts, which will, again, all of that will equal a substantial rate increase on the home side.
Right. Okay. And what is the timeline that a insurance company might find out about a DWI? At what point in the process do they discover that you've been charged with a DWI?
Every policy, either at the time of issue or when it comes up for renewal. So if you have a 6 months policy, and let's say your policy runs from July to December, and you are convicted in October, then when they will rerun your MVR at the next renewal, which would be in December. And at that time, they would determine their course of action as far as stripping away coverages and lowering the liability limits and so forth.
Okay. I have a lot of clients, just to kind of follow up with when does the insurance company find out about the DWI. A lot of clients are concerned that when they ask for a DL-123 form, when they are initially getting a pretrial limited driving privilege, that automatically sends the signal to the insurance company that they've been charged with a DWI. What is kind of the impact of a insurance company getting a request for a DL-123 form and kind of how they look at that policyholder?
A DL-123 form is a North Carolina specific form, and all it does or is verification that an insurance policy is in place. Now, we get requests from policyholders that they need this for a court issue. We also have to provide this to a young driver that goes to DMV to get their driver's license for the first time. Most insurance companies do not follow up on why a DL-123 was issued.
Okay.
It can only be issued by the company or by their agent.
Okay. And are there insurance companies that are out there that will offer reasonable rates for somebody that has been convicted of a DWI?
Absolutely. At Asheville Insurance Center, we represent the top 4 companies that have developed a program for first-time DUI offenders. There is historical data out there that that driver is the safest driver on the market. They're the safest driver on the road.
That's interesting.
That driver is afraid to change lanes without turning the turn signal on. They're not going to run a red light. They're not going to speed because they know that jeopardizes their provisional license that they may or were given. So they are actually have catered programs that give reduced rates to the first-time DUI.
Interesting.
And we represent the top 4.
Okay. And what is the kind of timeline in terms of when should somebody start planning kind of the insurance side of things in terms of after they've been charged with the DWI? When should I start considering a change in auto insurance? How can somebody plan for an increase in insurance?
Our recommendation is to come see us before they go to court. Let us evaluate their current levels of coverage. Our computer system will allow us to manually enter the DUI conviction so we can see what their rates are going to be after they're convicted, so that we can plan the right policies and the right companies to have in place. If we can do this prior to the conviction, then we can get them the best rate that's absolutely possible.
Okay.
Because these higher rates are going to be there from 3 to 5 years.
Okay. And does it make sense because of those higher rates being in place to potentially look at kind of creating a policy that is specific to this driver, whereas before they may have been on a family policy, or that might only include 1 or 2 vehicles as opposed to all of the vehicles that this person owns? Maybe they should title vehicles out. Kind of maybe just tell us a little bit about that.
The insurance companies have tons of data.
Okay.
They pull from public records. When we do a new quote, when we plug in an address, it comes back and lists everybody that's ever lived at that address for the last several years. And it will list the vehicles that have ever been registered to that address.
Okay.
So they know if you're married. They know if you've got a roommate. They know if you've got more than 1 car.
Okay.
So it is difficult to separate husband from wives. Also, by trying to do that, it could open up a material misrepresentation case to where you don't have your spouse on the policy, or you don't have your spouse's car on the policy, but yet you're driving the car and you get into an accident. That material misrepresentation can give the insurance companies a legal way out of not paying the claims. So it's really best, in our opinion, is that we're up front, everything's on the table, so there's nothing that'll come back to haunt us at a later date. And having the right companies, in most of the cases, we're going to get as good a rate.
Okay. Does it always make sense, Lee, for somebody to switch insurance companies because they've been convicted of a DWI?
Yes and no. We should definitely review the situation prior to going to court. Once we have sat down and we have evaluated your coverages that you have now and the company that you're with, you may already be with the right company, but chances are we can find a company that will entertain your situation at a lower rate than what you have now. Doing it after the conviction limits the options that we have to work with.
Okay. And can an insurance company increase somebody's insurance because they've been charged with DWI?
Not the actual charge, but they will upon conviction.
Okay.
Now they do get notification through the MVRs if there's a refusal to take the breathalyzer. That shows up on the motor vehicle records too.
Can that increase insurance?
Yes.
The refusal itself can
Yes.
increase insurance rates. What about if somebody has an accident and then is subsequently charged with the DWI related to that accident? Can your rates increase ahead of the conviction due to the fact that you're involved in an accident if you're the at-fault driver?
Absolutely. If your company pays out a claim, they know immediately what happened. The police report is more than likely going to have on the back any tickets or citations that were issued. If there was anything at that time about a DWI, it's going to be picked up there. They at the next renewal, even if you have not gone to court, they will surcharge you for the accident, and then maybe pick the DUI up down after you've gone to court.
Okay. Lee, if somebody is charged with a DWI, they're involved in an accident at the same time, let's say their car is totaled, they go to get a new vehicle and are trying to purchase insurance on that new vehicle, but that person's license has been civilly revoked related to the DWI charge, so that just from the actually receiving of the charge, now their license is in a state of revocation. Can that person get insurance without having a valid driver's license in effect?
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, the scenario you described there is a 30-day revocation.
Correct, right, exactly.
So at the end of that on the 31st day, their license are basically restored till they go to court. So purchasing another vehicle should not be a problem. Getting insurance on it should not be a problem. However, I would like to be able to talk with that person so that we can evaluate what the insurance rate's going to be after the conviction, so they don't have any surprises that they may have bought a car that's a little newer, a little nicer than what they had, thinking the insurance was going to be the same, which it would be until the conviction.
Right,
and then
okay.
the time the rates go up.
Okay.
So I would like to counsel them on that before they make that purchase.
Okay. So Lee, tell me, how long will a person see an increase in insurance rates once they're convicted of the DWI?
Once convicted, you're going to have 12 insurance points for 3 years. And the clock starts at the conviction date, not the arrest date. However, most insurance companies underwrite for 5 years. So after 3 years, the 12 points will drop off. But in year 4 and year 5, they use it as an underwriting factor. So where normally you may have been in a preferred or an ultra preferred category, because that charge is there, year 4 and year 5, they may put you in a standard or substandard category. which would still cause rate increases.
Okay. And you alluded to this a little bit earlier, in kind of talking about when an insurance company would kind of receive information from the DMV. Does the DMV ever directly send information regarding a DWI to an insurance company, or is it when the insurance company is maybe renewing a policy that they run their own reports? Does the DMV directly contact without kind of being solicited by insurance?
I don't believe any company receives instant notification from DMV.
Okay.
However, they will pick it up at the next renewal.
Okay.
And of course, once it becomes public record, your conviction has been submitted to Raleigh, to DMV, that does limit us in the options that we have in finding the best coverage for you. If we can meet with this person prior to going to court, there's several other options out there that allow us to get a better rate that first year. The second year and the third year, the surcharge is going to be there. But it also allows us, by the way we issue the policy, that after that third year, when the policy renews, it renews almost the day after the conviction date, so that there's not any higher surcharge carried 3.5 to 4 years out.
That makes sense. Okay. When you receive a DWI charge, how does that impact if you're an employee with a company for which you drive? How does that impact the employer's insurance?
On most all commercial vehicle policies, drivers of those vehicles have to be listed. And that insurance company has ran each of those drivers' public records, their MVR, what we call the clue report, which is accidents and things like that. And the information that comes back is used to determine the rate that your employer pays. So if even a speeding ticket or a reckless driving or a DWI, DUI comes back, that is going to cause the employer's insurance rates to substantially increase, or possibly go into a non-renewal mode. So that's the employer may move that person to a position that doesn't require them to drive. Could possibly cost them their employment. That's
Right.
up to the employer. But one thing that people need to understand, just because you are listed on your employer's commercial policy does not provide coverage for your personal automobiles.
Okay. Okay. And when an employer sees that increase in their policy, are they told why their increase is rate? I'm sure they could call in and ask about it, but are they informed as to why there was an increase in the policy?
Yes. They will know at the next renewal when they get their renewal notice. They'll see the rate increase, and on the declaration page it should show the reason why.
Okay. And so for somebody that is trying to decide, should I tell my employer about this? Should I not tell my employer about this? If you're a driver on a commercial policy, it's fairly likely that they will find out about that at some point just through the insurance.
Once you go to court and you're convicted, they will find out.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you, Lee, very much for sharing all that information with us. Basically, I think one of the main things to take away from this is that effectively moving forward with responding to the consequences of a DWI in terms of the insurance consequences means that there should be some planning that is involved from a policyholder's perspective prior to any conviction date, or kind of prior to getting to a tentative final court date. So the faster that you can get in touch with a great insurance representative like Lee, the better off you're going to be.